Welcome to Free Coffee. My name is Rob Riley. Kelvin McChesney is behind the camera. Today we are joined by Dom Lioto. Did I pronounce that right? Lioto?
Lioto. It doesn't even matter
You know,
at this point.
we'll rip another take. We'll just say it right. All right. What? Oh man. Gotcha. Lioto.
I say Lioto, but there
Lioto.
literally isn't a right answer.
All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Free Coffee. My name's Rob Riley. Kelvin McChesney is behind the camera, and today we are joined with the On Bing team. Dom Lioto, Cole Parzych. My bad.
No,
What's
you're
going
good.
on?
That was it.
Oh, okay. All right.
That
I
was
like,
good.
Awesome. What's going on, guys? Welcome
Too
in.
much. Thanks for having us, man. This is an awesome setup.
No worries. Thank you. It's our humble little creative spot. We're excited to have some creatives like you guys in the building at the moment. So On Bing, it's the company, it's the setup. What's kind of the roles in your guys's, in the company? Like, what kind of roles do you guys play?
Pitch them, Cole.
Dom and Joey are the ones who mostly handle the creative side.
Okay.
So I let them work their magic. I do help and assist and give my feedback and have a couple little videos I do here and there to help them out. But for me, my job is to handle the digital outreach. So working with clients. You reached out to Dom, so it made my job a little bit easier to book this one. But,
Nice.
Just trying to find information for us, ways to improve our website. And try to monetize what we've got going on social media the best way we can.
So business and creative, the yin and yang.
Yeah, basically.
Nice. I like it. So why don't we go back, kind of talk about like the early days, the creative, like where you guys came from, all that sort of stuff. And then we'll get into like the business, the discussion of that. And then I got some questions about what's coming up and everything we're going to talk about with that.
Cool.
So
Cole, you want to give the On Bing definition? Then I'll tell them about the first movie.
Please.
So the definition, it's just a made up word. Bing isn't a made up word in itself, but the meaning, I guess, originated just from us being in college and trying to create our own jargon or slang, I guess you want to say. But on Bing means, I don't know what's the best way to put it now. I got to look at the video for the exact definition.
I'll give an example.
Okay.
Man, Cole, those pants are on Bing today. Where'd you get them babies at?
So it's like strong agreement, like those. It's a synonym for fire, sick, gross, things
It's
like
like
that.
a classy fleek.
Man,
there
this,
you go.
This
Yeah.
Domino's pizza today is especially on Bing.
On Bing today.
Yeah.
Just podcast setup.
Something
on
cool.
Bing.
Yeah. Your setup is on Bing, baby.
We got to use that now. I like it. Cool. We're going to rip that. Put that one in the
Please,
pocket.
Yeah,
please
use
do.
that
We've
one.
been trying to
Spread the
spread it.
I like it.
It's on Urban Dictionary. You can look up the exact definition.
Nice. Did you guys do that? Or did you
I
find
did, yes,
really? What
yeah.
the hell? Sorry, I'm going to go completely off topic right now. But how the hell do you do that?
You can actually just submit basically whatever you want. I'll pull it up exactly so I have the exact
Is it from the
definition for you.
Bueller Boys, though?
It is from the Bueller Boys. So my friend group in Oswego started it.
Okay.
I was in the cafeteria one day, and like I said, our friends just for some reason thought it was funny, clever to make up their own English dictionary.
They're morons.
And one of the words was, I'm trying to remember, I think D-ho. And it was the same thing, like, oh, that's on D-ho. And for some reason, one day somebody misunderstood what he said, and a guy blurted out Bing. And then it was sort of catchy, and then it stuck, and then Dom and I, then that evolved into a radio show, our Instagram page, our Twitter account, and then the YouTube page ultimately, and then now the name of our business.
Yeah, it started as That's on Bing with Cole and Dom on WNYO 88.9 FM. And then there was a short film contest at Oswego. It was the Panic Film Festival where you make a short film in 48 hours. And it's all horror stuff. It's in October. So me and my brother Joey, we made our first official project. We always made, we've been making movies since we were in elementary school, basically.
Really?
My mom's camcorder, iPod Touch, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
One of the first times I hung out with Cole in his basement, New Year's Eve, 8th grade, I think, we made a Nerf gun action movie.
Damn. Do you guys still have it? Do you ever watch it?
I didn't even remember that until you brought that up.
Yeah, I don't know how we could find it.
Imagine you guys
Probably not.
got to find it. That
And
would
then
be sick.
we took video production classes with Mr. Ferranto at CNS.
I took those too.
And you know, that was basically just us making movies for the first time officially and learning techniques and all that stuff after years and years of watching movies. But when this contest came around in Oswego, Joey and I were like, why haven't we been doing this? Like we should have just been doing this since high school, since whenever. So after we edited the whole video, we had a discussion on what our YouTube page should be called. I was like, honestly, I think it should just be On Bing Productions.
Nice.
That was 2 years ago ish, and it's stuck ever since. We haven't had the urge to change it yet. So
Yeah, Dom and I were always trying to find ways to not work a 9-to-5 job in college. So there's many times racking our brains in our apartment on what we should do, and that was one of our first things. And then, like Dom said, it was just, you know, why don't we stick with that? But I found the definition. This is when I did it in college, so it's a little bit different than our official commercial video. But I'll read the whole thing to you. So this is me, the top definition for On Bing. It has 4 upvotes actually, so some people are viewing it.
Nice.
But On Bing, use On Bing when anything is of the best quality or very true. Also can be shortened to Bing as a simple and refreshing way to say fire or sick. Originated in central New York, used primarily throughout larger stretches of upstate and western New York. And then some examples that I have written down here. These bagel bites are on Bing. I don't know if I want to read this one, but I guess I will. You said it's free reign.
They'll bleep you.
Yo, she's got the biggest. That's on Bing. Or that movie was on Bing.
Yeah.
So we classied it up a little bit for our professional scope of things. But
so when you guys make a movie, not only is it made by On Bing, but it's on Bing.
yes,
And that's right.
That's
right.
sick. That's our
All right.
slogan too, and that's on Bing.
Cool.
Very simple.
So I want to take it back a little bit. I want to learn a little bit about you guys coming up and like all that sort of stuff, and then talk more about like the business development. So I guess we'll start with you.
Cool.
Creatively, like where did the passion and the want to create and that sort of stuff originate from? Like when you said you were picking up the camcorder real young, why was that? Were you just kind of like trying to create? Just what was kind of the thought process?
Well, my dad's a pretty big movie guy compared to the average person. And I guess movies were just always on. My parents got divorced when I was young, elementary school, first, second grade-ish. So by the time like 4th, 5th grade rolled around, when we were a little more cemented in what life would be now, basically bouncing house to house and yada, 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 I found comfort in movies. So like the first time I remember my mind being blown by a movie was in my dad's basement by myself. I watched Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino's first movie, and then Collateral, which is a Michael Mann movie with Tom Cruise. And both those movies just blew my mind. And I was like, wow, those are movies. Like, I've watched a lot of movies, but I've never watched a movie that made me feel like that. So just since then, it just sparked this whole, I mean, it's just like at almost every moment, like riding in the car, a song plays. Oh, what song could this go over? An action scene, a sad scene, the visuals. I'm looking up at the sky. I'm like, oh, that's a cool angle for the trees or whatever. So it's just like my mind is always thinking in ways of cinema.
Interesting. So that came from like a real young inspiration in just like how you tied like emotion to visuals.
Yeah, I don't know how to intelligently put it, but I guess I just found comfort. I mean, movies are an escape from whatever. Like,
For sure.
Like you could be happy and you can escape to the most sad, depressing, messed up movie you could, or you can be sad and escape to a bright, colorful, happy movie that gives you a lot of hope. So I think it was just an escape. And then as you get older, you realize the world sucks and, you know, you don't want anything to do with it. So you're like, you know what? I need to continue escaping. I need to continue building worlds. And I've always just liked stories and stuff. I watch a lot of TV. I used to read a lot of books. I'm getting more back into that, but it's just an escape. And after a while, you start thinking more technically, like, oh, that shot was cool. How did they pull off the shot? And then you spend 4 hours on YouTube about learning about a certain lens and how this pull technique was developed in, 1950, whatever. And it just kind of snowballs into being a 23-year-old that likes movies.
Well, you guys do a good job too. Like during the whole presidency thing, right? With all the ad campaigns, everybody getting really fired up. You guys came out with like a little parody and like made fun of it and like really kind of gave people tiny little social media escape. Like while you're scrolling, all you're seeing is all this negativity, political stuff. You guys created something that was just like fun, lighthearted, and interesting. And you actually replied to my tweet where I was like, I hate political campaigns. You're
Yeah.
like, not this one. And like, just like brought some positivity and a little escape. I love it. I think people need it now, especially, right?
Yeah. Like politics are such a team sport thing, which they shouldn't be. So for us, it was kind of a challenge while writing to be like, to make sure we're not taking a side in any way. So that's why we don't focus on, Democrats or Republicans. It was just more like making a parody on what a political ad is. So we watched a lot of Democratic political ads. We watched a lot of Republican political ads, and we just mashed them together.
Nice. So, Cole, when did the switch happen for you? Were you like a creative kid that went business? Were you a business kid that wanted a little bit more like creative exposure? Or were you just like central business?
I don't know. It's tough. Like I went to school for broadcasting and mass communication.
Where'd you go?
Oswego.
Okay,
just
cool.
with Dom. So that's where the whole thing started. So I don't know if I really had like a switch. I still really don't know exactly what I want to do. But I went to Oswego under the impression that I wanted to be involved in sports somehow, whether it was sports information or sports broadcasting. And Oswego, they offered a lot of opportunities. It was nearby. It was a SUNY school, so it wasn't going to cost an arm and a leg, even though I guess it still does. But compared to other schools, relatively speaking, it's not. And it gave me a lot of opportunity to sort of round out what I wanted to do. And I think at the same time, it sort of burned me out. So I'm not as interested in much sports broadcasting things anymore. So I'm in sort of a weird spot as I adjust my mask here. Still getting used to that. But
No, you're fine.
I don't know. It's tough to say because I substitute teach.
Okay.
My mother's a teacher. I'm big into hockey. So one of the things I'm wearing this jersey too now, but one of the things I spend a lot of time doing now, like Dom says, he sees something and he looks up the lens or how to create this shot or this effect for a certain movie. For me, what I've been spending a ton of my time with during quarantine is watching hockey games, whether it's juniors, professionals. A coach I talked to recently said he's been trying to watch more KHL games, which is the Russian professional league.
Oh, interesting.
So I've been trying to, it's hard to watch those games without either finding games early or really late at night on NHL Network or just clips from them you can. So really just finding any way to sort of round out my knowledge on that, I think is something I'm really interested in. And just helping people in general reach their full potential is something that I hold near and dear to my heart. So as much as I may not be as creative as Dom or Joey in those respects, I think there's things that I want to do to be able to help them reach their potential and what they want to do and their goals. So
That's awesome.
It goes along with them, the hockey team that I coach with your brother Ricky. I coach the CNS hockey team too, and have been coaching girls college hockey. I've been involved in college hockey, so just getting as much background I can on people, and really where I'm leaning towards right now is trying to become a teacher, either elementary or high school. So really just, I think, being able to have a person at one point in their life and then help them advance to the next and the step all along the way, 1% better every day is something I always try to live by. And then I also preach to all the kids that I coach now. And that just excites me in general. So I think that's something where I want to go into education, into coaching somehow. If I do go into education, that's obviously coincides with coaching in general. And then I think it really can just apply to anything in your life, to your friends, your peers, your coworkers, your spouses, your girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it may be. And, obviously not as serious as maybe a practice could be, but just, I think that's what I'm looking for in life is something that's rewarding and something that, social media management and, sports information really wasn't giving me at Oswego.
Interesting. No, I think it's really interesting that you say you burnt out, because I think school does that for a lot of people. They go for their passion and then they just like lose it because it's so regimented, it's so strict, and there's so much, it's just work. You lose the love of it. I've heard that a lot from people, and I think that's really interesting.
And I mean, it's probably my own fault because I didn't really think about what I wanted to do. And I think it's tough on everybody to say, okay, you're 18 years old, you can't even drink a beer legally now, but you got to
figure out
sure up this loan and figure out this future right here for 4 years. And my first thinking was, I'm not that good at math. Science bores me. I really like sports. Why don't I do that? And I was like, okay, that's a good job. My mom wanted me to be a teacher at the time. Like I said, she's a teacher. She said I should be a pharmacist. And I was like, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't think I'm smart enough to be a pharmacist, even though they make great money. And that's what I'm looking for now a little bit. But I know money's not everything. So I went and I was like, oh, I like sports. I watch hockey all the time. I'm big into baseball, watch football too, basketball. I'm a Lakers fan. So they finally got it done for me this year. But
Nice.
I know he's giving me the thumbs up in the back.
Get the Celtics shirt on though. Little
I'm Boston born, but I love LeBron James.
There you go.
There
Okay.
you go.
I support that then. And
That's awesome.
I just that was like my personality, but I've learned that, just because you like something doesn't mean that has to be your career. And I think sort of the hours of the job burn me out. Like I want to be able to live my life too. I want to be able to, if I have a girlfriend one day, hopefully, be like, hey, you want to go to here this weekend? You want to, meet up after dinner for this? But, with that schedule, it was so different and varied so often. And, there was times in school where I missed a lot of opportunities to do things that a college kid would, which at the time I didn't really care about. I knew I was getting good experience and helping build my resume, which is still important. But, just working those long hours, especially during hockey season, I would be working from, 10 in the morning till, 1 at night. I'd go the whole weekend without even seeing Dom, and we lived together.
No, yeah, it was crazy. And it just showed me the work ethic Cole had. Like, in high school and stuff, I always knew he was pretty dedicated to whatever he was trying to do because he did the North Syracuse Wiffle Ball League, and he organized that every summer. And I saw all the planning he did, and he literally hand wrote all the rules for the league and stuff. Like
Beautiful setup.
He looked like a madman.
Thank you.
He looked crazy. But then in college, I transferred sophomore year, and we lived together until we graduated. But sophomore year, he was writing for the paper. So he was gone a lot writing for the paper. And then junior year, he was the editor-in-chief for the newspaper, and I was editor of the arts and entertainment section.
He did a great job, by the way.
So we were together more, but he still had more stuff to do than me there. So there was still a little bit of a disconnect. And then senior year, we weren't as involved with the newspaper, but he had a lot more responsibility in the radio organization as the sports director.
Yeah.
And he was gone all the time.
Yeah, I did that my junior year too. I was the sports director of the radio station, and I was the editor-in-chief of the newspaper. And that's not a brag or anything, but that's just sort of to
Those
give.
are facts, people. That's just what he did. We're not sugarcoating anything. That's what he did. So this man's going to practices in the middle of the day and doing notes and talking to people. And then he's going to games out of town. We did a few trips to Plattsburgh and Potsdam, which were fun. I was taking pictures, and he was doing his thing behind the mic. So whatever Cole has a little bit of an interest in, he dives head first, which might be the cause of burning out per se, but at least he knows he put all those hours in. He knows the ins and outs of him, and ultimately it might not be for him for the future, but I don't think you should regret anything from I don't from all those hours you put in, even if you did miss a couple random parties or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't regret it at all. If that's my tone, I apologize for that, but I do think it helped me, like Dom said, realize my limits, what I can do for myself as far as career goals in the future and what we're doing now. And I think it just taught me a lot of life lessons on dealing with people, and, really the sort of work ethic you need to be successful. Our radio station won an award for best play-by-play, national award at the end of my senior year. Thank you. So, the hard work did pay off. We got some recognition for the station. First award in a while, so I'm really happy about that. Our newspaper won some awards too. I don't think did we come in first in any categories? I don't remember.
I don't know. I know we won a bunch of individual awards within the school for different pieces and stuff, but I can't think of anything outside that.
How have you kind of developed, if you're dealing with all this and you said you've experienced burnout, have you developed strategies, either of you, to kind of combat burnout with work and with the things you're pursuing, or is it just kind of part of the game for you guys?
I can't say I've been burned out with anything specifically. I've always experienced bouts of depression and stuff. And this year I had some especially bad bouts. But one thing that I've discovered was meditation is awesome. And
I love meditation.
And I've been meditating a lot more over the past, I tried a free trial of Headspace like probably a year ago. But then like a month ago, I just paid for a year. I just said, whatever, I spend enough money on whatever random crap.
What does it do for you?
It just gives me like 10 minutes of absolute peace. And then once I open my eyes again and I'm back in the real world, I'm a lot more centered and calm and ready to attack challenges in ways that I probably couldn't have before. Like, I'm a pretty anxious person. I feel like my mind is always running. So what I like about Headspace is that he literally tells you, okay, you drifted right there. And he knows. I don't know how he knows, but he knows. Oh, you drifted right there. Just take a breath and come back to it. And I'm like, oh yeah, because this does not matter. It's not a competition. No one's watching me. No one's taking notes. Just take a breath, center yourself, and keep on thinking. Keep on breathing. And that's life. Just keep on breathing. Move on. Don't worry about it.
You were saying it's you like it as well?
I meditated a lot last summer. And the place I did it, and I talked to Don a lot about it, but the place I did it was in my backyard in my grass. And I didn't have any tapes or anything, but I read some books about it, watched some YouTube videos. Netflix had a series called Explain, and one of them was on meditation and just sort of the mind and how you can focus yourself. And I haven't done it as much recently, but I do still try to practice mindfulness, and that's something I teach to my kids too. But yeah, there was like times like Dom said where you just are in the zone, and it's not like you fall asleep, but it's almost like your body like isn't exerting any energy. You're just like feeling like what's around you. Like you hear the birds going over your head, or you feel the wind through the grass, going onto your skin, and
Interesting.
And you just like, it's tough to describe. I don't want to say like it's floating in and out of
transcendent. It really is.
Yeah.
It's transcendent. It's a little euphoric once you're in a groove. Like, it might be tough to get into because I've tried doing it like just solo, and I was not prepared for that as like a beginner meditator because my mind is just racing. But once you kind of learn the beats and you're more comfortable with the routine, it is, I don't know, it just resets you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend somebody starts like down that journey of trying to like learn how to meditate? Because I would say I've used Headspace. I've like experienced some of those apps before. And I've tried it and I've enjoyed it. And I read a lot of like philosophy, not a lot, but I've read a couple philosophy books, and I studied philosophy at school. So I enjoyed like that experience and like thinking about like just like all of that. But I've never been able to have meditation like stick. I've never been able to like really feel like I was like 10, like, because I have severe ADD. I cannot. So, I've used Headspace. I've heard him say like, bring it back in. Like, if you drift, like, that's okay. It's like not a big deal. Bring it back in. And then I'd be like 2 seconds later, I'm gone again. Like or I'm too tired. I fall asleep. So like clearly it's stuck for you. Like, what would you recommend somebody do if they're starting? How did you start? What would you do over again?
I think it's similar to like being a gym, like a good gym boy, like a good gym routine, lifter, power guy.
Yeah.
Like they all say, after X amount of days of doing it in a routine and just sticking with your routine, you're going to want to do it. You're going to think about it. You're just going to be accustomed to waking up and doing it first thing. And that's basically what happened for me. Is I did it for like 2 weeks in a row, and it was a little spotty here and there. I'd wake up, I didn't feel like doing it. I would just take a shower and start my day or whatever. But once you get like, I don't know, let's just say 2-3 weeks in, doing it every single day, it's just like that is what you do now. And you don't think about it. You just wake up, you sit on the floor, or you wake up and I go on my back porch and sit there, close my eyes for 10 minutes, and then I'm ready to start my day.
That's fascinating.
I don't think you need to, per se, always like start. Like, I don't think you need to sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes today. I think you can take little steps at a time. And one of the things I do to help round out my knowledge of coaching is I'm part of the NHL Coaches Association, and I do their mentorship program.
Okay.
And one of the guests that we had on last week was Dr. Amy Kimball. That's why I was on my phone. I was making sure I had her name right. And she currently works for the New Jersey Devils. She won a cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So she works with these grown men who have issues with either focus or confidence or things like that. And one of the things she said to me, and I always say it, or to everybody in the group, but one of the things I always say to my kids now is, when you change your footwear, change your focus. So when they put their skates on, they're not worried about their homework or not doing their chores or their girlfriend not Snapchatting them back or losing, their last Madden game on Xbox or whatever it is. So you're focused on just what you're doing now. And I think if you can take that approach to life of, okay, I'm in this podcast right now, I'm not going to worry about whatever I'm doing,
that itch you got on your ass,
or whatever it is, just to focus on what you're doing now, and that outside factors, yes, they're still part of your life and you have to deal with them, but they should not impact what you're currently doing. And that's one of the things, because like Dom talked about, forming habits. I wear this Whoop strap now. I did it as a little motivator to continue on my fitness journey. And that's one of the things I do now. Every morning, 4 days a week, I wake up and I either run or I lift. And I do it too because it's a little bit of fasted cardio, so it's an easier way to burn fat and more calories. But that's one of the things that I always say too is you feel things like maybe your legs tight, or your shoulders acting up, or it's really cold outside, and you can focus on that, and then that can deter you from having the greatest output on your current task. So like, if you're doing homework and you're just reading through the chapters, skimming really quick, you're not getting as much out of it as you possibly could, as opposed to you focusing on what you're doing at hand. So if I feel, my calf is tight or my ankle hurts, I say, okay, that's there, but it's not going to deter me from finishing my run here, or, finishing my lift if my elbows bother me a little bit or something like that. And that goes for everything. Just like the kids I preach today too. If something could be happening and, you had an argument with your mom, you can fix that afterwards. But one of the things you can't do is worry about it now. If you're really trying to become a better hockey player and a better person overall, focus on what you're doing right now and get the most out of it, because then when you go afterwards, usually you have a clearer mind and a clearer focus, and you can attack things that are outside of your current task much more cleanly and much more effectively.
It seems like you guys just said the same thing through a different lens, like much more still and like active, but it seemed like you guys got the same sort of outcome of the action, right? Like, so meditation can be done multiple ways is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, I don't meditate like Dom does anymore, but that's one of the things I constantly do is if, I keep using the kids that I coach as an example, but even if they're doing something wrong, and, usually growing up as a coach, you do something wrong and you get reamed out and you got to skate for it. But now I'm pushing myself to, okay, this was done wrong. I'm going to calm down, not get myself riled up, and then let's talk to them on, okay, here's what you did wrong. What do you think you could have done better? If they have the right answer, tap on the head, say, absolutely, go get them next time. If they don't, I'll explain it to them. And then if they can do it next time right in the drill, there you go. You got it. That's absolutely what you're supposed to be doing. So for me, that's sort of what meditation is, just sort of centering yourself and refocusing your energy. But like what Dom does is great. I think it's a great exercise for your mind. It helps with positivity, levels in your brain, all those chemicals, and serotonin. And you want to get an exact definition, maybe watch a YouTube video. Don't listen to me, but they definitely will just help you in your everyday life. And if you do it in the morning like Dom was doing, it's going to give you a better trajectory for that day.
So that's interesting. Do you think there's you talk a lot about your passion for sports? Do you think there's a tie-in between On Bing and athletics in the future? Is that something you've ever thought about?
We sort of do with, we made the Wiffle Ball documentary. Mm-hmm. That's still our most viewed video.
Yeah.
Dom was big into golf with me this summer. We both got into it, and I said, hey, come out on the course with me too. And, he went out, and we've made some things, a couple TikToks. We made a video on the Random Golf Club Syracuse first meetup.
That's the one that inspired me to try to get involved a little bit with you guys. It was a good video.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That one was all me. I did that one. Dom was behind the camera for the most part. I was the one editing it. So every once in a while I get behind and, get behind the edit bay and keep going. But I helped Chase, my brother, who runs the RGC account, make some video and post some contacts. And, they're constantly involved with the El Paso, Texas offices. Eric Anders Lang is the guy who runs it. They get updates on everything they're doing. And On Bing definitely helps with those things. And I think once the golf season ramps up again, there's always opportunities to do more on that side of things. And we also did the bananas video.
Yeah, so this summer we called it On Bing Talks. And we only made 2 about wiffle ball, but, maybe we'll do an On Bing Talks here one day.
Yeah.
Just basically highlighting people and what they're up to. Instead of one of the first projects that we did for wiffle ball was I was making these weekly recap videos. God, what year was this?
That was the year I lost the World Series, the second year, 27. So second to last year, so it was 2017.
Yeah, it was before On Bing was a thing.
Okay.
So we were making videos, weekly videos. Funny stuff happened. Here's the scores. Here's who's going to play next week, kind of thing. But they were super repetitive.
Yeah, there's no real focus.
There was no real focus. They were just like, okay, let's pick this song this week, and I'm going to cut together the footage to this song, et cetera, et cetera. So after the documentary came out, our big one, we're like, what can we do for this new chapter of the Wiffle Ball League. How can we do more stuff behind the camera? And I was like, well, instead of just doing all the games in the day, why don't we make it easier for ourselves and just focus on one game or one team, and let's highlight the people and not specifically the gameplay or the games themselves, even though they are just a part of the story. So after that, we did some golf stuff, and we've always just had it in the mind, let's just make as much shit as possible. So,
That's kind of our strategy right now.
yeah, I mean, seriously, like
It's tough to have like a set schedule with trying to work different jobs and everything. But yeah, we're just trying to do as much as we can.
Yeah, totally. Like I mean, my number one thing is like the short films and stuff. But at the same time, I just love being behind the camera and making videos. Why not make a golf video? Maybe some golf organization will see it one day and will want to hire us to do something. Why not make a little video on Vinay Anuzo, who's trying to be like an MMA fighter guy? Let's make a cool edit of him. Maybe
He's a badass.
Maybe some boxers or whatever will want to hire us to make a fight promo video or their walkout video.
I want to get Vin on the pod if you guys can help me hook that up.
I can definitely.
that's
hook
no
up with
problem.
it. Yeah.
All right, sick.
I was just talking to him today, so I'll pass along the info.
Sick.
So yeah, it's just about making as many videos on as many different topics as possible.
No, that's fascinating. Do you guys ever have, obviously, you guys were friends before you formalized the business.
Yep.
You ever have problems trying to maintain the relationship of friendship versus like a work relationship? Does that ever come up? Have you ever struggled with that and dealt with that?
Not really. I don't think so. Maybe Cole will tell me I'm wrong and I'm an annoying asshole. But I don't know. I think me and Cole think similarly when it comes to a lot of things. So while he might have a slightly different opinion on this one choice I made, the overall picture is we're usually on the same page.
Like, I was gonna say the same thing. I think maybe sometimes Dom thinks I'm annoying because there's times where, like, I'm trying to push, like, okay, let's try to make some contact, let's or some content, let's try to plan some things, and I hate to make excuses, but Joey still goes to school full time. He's the one who owns a lot of the equipment. We all went in on the camera we use, the Black Magic, but he owns a lot of it, and it's treks going up and back and forth to Oswego to get it and trying to plan things, and he's a full-time student, so that obviously comes first. Dom works a couple different jobs here or there, same thing with me, so there's always times where I'm like trying to push things and it doesn't really come to fruition, and that sort of gets me down because I know that they have potential. I know I can help them out in many different ways. So but like Dom said, I think we do have similar visions, and a lot of times too, I'll trust in his eye and what he thinks for things, or if there's something he's looking for that I can't really put to words to, and he'll be able to explain it. I go, yeah, that's it right there. That's what I was thinking of. So I think we work well together, and there hasn't really been too many issues. My family has always worked together. We've had a family business for, since I was born. So they have given me some sort of experience on how to deal with things like that. I know some people say you're an idiot if you work with your family or friends, but I don't regret working with Dom or Joey at all.
Nice. No, that's cool. What kind of stuff are you doing to like hustle and like work? Like, are you doing outreach? Like, tell me about that, your strategy with that.
So it's tough because as soon as we got the website finalized, my dad is the one who told me this, and he got his real estate license. And one of the things he couldn't do was make cold calls. And as soon as we got the website out, because Cuomo put in an order that you cannot make cold calls during a national emergency, and the pandemic
I did not know that.
Or a state emergency, not a national emergency. It's a new order. I looked it up and everything because I was like, there's no way that can be true. That's such BS if it's true. And chances are, if I call up a bunch of businesses and say, hey, do you want to make a commercial? We can do this, yada, yada, yada. They're either one, just going to hang up, or two, say we're not interested, or, maybe we can do it. We can work something out. But at the same time, us being a new business and not having, much capital or revenue coming in frequently, we couldn't really afford a potential sort of lawsuit or anything. So I've been trying to talk more with people that we've worked with in the past. When he talked about Vin making a fight video and things like that, he's mentioned to me a couple of times that when he has a fight, he wants us to be, part of his media team and in the media well, taking pictures, those things we can get paid for. But he can't fight, obviously, because of Corona. So it's really sort of a bad time to launch a business, but we're grateful, and we have the privilege that it's not our only source of income. So I think it's now given us a good time to work on our skills a little more and round things out. So me and Dom work on trying to put out content just for social media posts for people to see. if I hear of a new business, I'll follow them on Instagram, send them an email, see if they have any interest in that. I emailed a ton of people one day, maybe got like 3 responses. They were all, we're not interested, or we can't do it at the time, because it's so difficult right now with what people are making and just trying to keep doors open, that, probably social media marketing and cutting a check for that is not the first thing that's on their mind. So it's difficult, and especially not being able to call people. I think that'd be an easier way to reach out.
I'd imagine that makes it not only difficult to, one, make content, two, meet people, but also people just don't have that free capital to spend right now.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest gain.
So the strategy is probably, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you guys are like, let's just make content, see what sticks, and like build a community sort of thing. Or what's the strategy now for like the next couple of months to continue to grow?
So we have a few things on our to-do list. We've had a short film basically finalized for a couple months now, but somebody I think too, Justin Witter, he's been making the music for it.
Nice.
So as soon as he sends me the music, which is hopefully soon, we're going to do the final edit of the short film, and we're going to release that out there. And along with like one short film, especially our big ones, because we make some smaller ones too, but then every like 2 or 3 months we have a quote unquote big one, and this is another big one. So for the big ones, we make posters, we make a trailer, we kind of do an actual like marketing campaign for it, or we try our best to. What else we got going on? I started doing cooking videos over the summer during the pandemic, because I just thought it was something easy, and there's not too many cooking videos saying I'm a moron, I don't know what any of this stuff is, I don't know what tastes good, I don't know what goes together, but let's try and make something. So that was kind of the basis for Don't Touch That, It's Hot. So we're going to do a holiday one soon. Me and Cole, it's kind of cool, because me and Joey make a certain type of thing, and then me and Cole are able to make a certain type of other thing. So with Cole, we do like social media content. Like we made this little, like, you always see, it's a thing now, but like comedians acting like a certain character, like those Trevor Wallace type videos where he's like, frat guy after graduation. And then it's like 2 minutes of just random ad libs,
I saw
improv.
every guy after morning sex one that just came out. That thing was so funny.
Yeah, stuff like that. So we did one called The Car Bro, and I'm the car bro, and I'm in a Sturgis motorcycle rally t-shirt and an Oakley hat, and I'm with my piece of crap Nissan. That's the joke. So things like that are great for social media. Me and Cole do together, along with Bing drinking, which is kind of Cole's thing, where he concocts a cool cocktail. So, same with the Don't Touch That, It's Hot. It's just like easy to make sort of thing, everyday, casual guy kind of thing. We got those planned up. We're going to film another bigger short film in January. It's been nice because Joey is in film classes, so his class projects can also just be uploaded to our YouTube page.
Nice.
That's waiting. And then we have another one coming up called Gone. What else, Cole? Can you think of anything else? We got our own podcast coming up.
Yep.
Sick.
And I'll help a little bit with the promotion of that and everything, but he's got his podcast coming out. Are you going to do the one with Kelly on Bing too, or is that going to be under?
No. It's all on Bing Productions. So, you probably know Mike Riccardi. Me and Mike are doing a podcast where we count down our 100 favorite movies.
Nice.
So it'll be 10 episodes.
I know of Mike. I don't think I've ever met him personally.
It'll be 10 episodes, 10 movies each, counting down from 100. And then me and my girlfriend, who is, hopefully I'm not spoiling her Christmas if she listens to this, but she's getting a podcast bundle for Christmas.
Oh man,
from
she's for sure
from Rockville. From Rockville. So that's
awesome.
It was it came with like 3 mics, a bunch of soundboards and all that crap. So I'm gonna tell her she is now the On Bing Productions podcast director.
Let's go.
And 1, it gives me less stuff to do, and 2,
that's why he's doing it.
And 2, it gives her another like hobby to do, because she's always been like, oh, I don't know what to do, I have nothing to do. So I'm like, okay, work. Get to work. So I'm going to do one with her called something, maybe The Recap, where we just talk about what we watched that week.
Nice.
But not just movies and TV. Oh, here's this funny TikTok. Oh, here's this really sick, twisted Reddit video I found of somebody getting
post those.
Somebody getting ran over. No, I'm not going to post those, but I'll talk about them. So it's just basically whatever we're watching. Oh, I really like this ASMR YouTube video this week. Okay, Kelly, tell me about it.
No, that's cool. I really like that. I think we obviously talked about it earlier, but with with content being such an escape right now, I feel like you're providing people an escape that literally just lays out like, go check all this other stuff out. Like,
Yeah.
it just seems like a good business model, even though I know it's not like an actual.
No, yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
I always like part of me. I tweet a lot about like what movies I'm watching, and on my Instagram stories, I have this this app called Letterboxd, and it's basically social media for people that like movies and can rate movies and review movies and you can-
Letterboxd?
yeah, Letterboxd.
Okay.
And so on there, you can just share your most recent ratings or whatever. So part of me is like, oh, maybe I'll throw this out there. Somebody will watch this movie and enjoy it. Let me know what they think. But then part of it is also like I'm just screaming into the void. No one cares what I think. Nobody cares about my movie suggestions. So it's just kind of like, one, I get to make something. Two, I feel like I'm being productive. And three, hopefully somebody watches a movie like I watched when I was in fourth grade or fifth grade or whatever that will like change your life. Because I think there is a movie for everyone out there that can actually change your life.
Interesting. Do you have one of those?
I'm never really big into movies, to be honest with you. Like, I know it's like
Yeah,
weird
me
to
and
say.
Cole, me and Cole have had plenty of
Look at
conversations
this yin and yang
where
right
he's
now.
like,
Holy hell.
this movie is stupid. It makes no sense. I'm like, Cole, these are all the reasons it makes sense. What are you talking about? Don't you see the artistic value of the vagueness of that ending? But Cole surprised me before because I've watched movies where I think he would have no interest in it, and he would just walk in to our living room. He'd sit down, and like 20 minutes later, he'd be like, "Man, this is cool." Like one time, I was watching Boogie Nights, Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights,
Yes, that's a good one.
which is one of the greatest movies of all time. And that movie is just so different because it's super propulsive. It feels like it's always moving forward. The camera's always moving. The characters are talking fast, and it whips to a whole new scene. It feels and looks like no other movie. And he rips a lot of that out from Martin Scorsese, but that's besides the point. But Cole sat down, and with no real movie knowledge, he realized he was watching something different and cool. So I think if you just
Interesting.
open yourself up to watching different stuff, you'd be like, oh, wow, this is different. I don't know why, but I want to watch more from this director or, whatever.
Do you find that you can walk away from bad content? Because I find that if I'm starting to like watch something, like for example, Lexi, my girlfriend, loves to watch like, what is it, like America's Next Top Model.
Yeah, garbage.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
But if I sit down, I'm stuck for like an hour or two. And I'm like, man,
Why?
I can't get up from bad content because like I just get tied into a story. So I don't know. Is that like
I think I'm quick to pull.
you're quick, like you're like,
Yeah.
this sucks, I'm out?
Because
You
like
don't-
now, especially over quarantine, there's nothing for me to do really. So at nights, my parents will, sit down and watch movies or things, and I'll be like, all right, I'll try to watch it from them. And there's like so many like just plot holes, and like they're not like the same movies that Dom watched by like big name directors who are really artsy and all those terms that he'd pull out of his
He's like an
ass.
IPA guy, you're like a
yeah.
Bud Light guy.
I guess so. Yeah, when it comes to movies, so like I'll see a movie and I go, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? Why would this happen when this just happened here? And like just those like little, I guess like glitches in
The story.
the story just don't. I just can't get down with it. I guess that's
And
one way
you're
to put it.
instantly, you're done, you're
I'll
out.
pull. Yeah, if I don't like the YouTube
Interesting.
video I start, I'm out. If there's
Yeah,
a
I guess-
podcast episode I get bored, next one or I go out.
For sure.
But I'm big into like true crime stuff.
Interesting.
So things that are true, and I think that's one of the reasons I think I like sports because they're actually happening. It's real life that I can really get behind those, and I don't have any issues sitting down and watching a Carolina Panthers football game from start to finish because maybe I have one fantasy football player in there, or I just want to watch the football game. That I'm a Cowboys fan, and my dad he gets so livid with how bad they are and the coaching staff, and this player sucks, and he shouldn't be. He should be on the street without a job. This, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, you can't really get upset at this point. Like, yes, they're terrible. Their run defense is the worst in the league. The last game against the Ravens, they gave up like 3 straight plays of like 35 plus yards. Like those things just happen. But to me, I'll sit down no matter what the Cowboys record is, and I'll watch a complete game. The Canucks. I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. For a while, they were one of the worst teams in the league, and they got screwed out of getting the number 1 pick a couple of times. But I don't have any issues sitting down and watching an entire crappy hockey game from start to finish when they lose 5-1 just because it's actually happening, and I'm tied into that real life aspect, I guess.
Well, it's funny. I've known Cole's parents as long as I've known him, basically, besides the days before I went to his house that they weren't in school with us. But I'll talk to his dad, and his dad watches a lot of TV and a lot of movies, and a good amount of the stuff is like, oh yeah, that was a good movie, that's a good show, I totally agree. But then some other things, it's just like standard studio schlock, like generic action movie, generic drama, whatever. And he's like, yeah, it was all right. Where I'm like, oh God, that was garbage. Like, why did you even watch that? But in terms of bad content, I will watch a ton of Bar Rescue.
Love Bar Rescue.
What's it
Pawn
called?
Stars.
Ink Master.
Oh, okay.
Like just garbage clips. Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, anything Gordon Ramsay. I have that's a bit of an escape from like movies for me, I guess, where I'll watch hours and hours and hours of those clips. Or my girlfriend likes to watch the show called Love Island,
Okay.
which
My
is
mom
a
loves that too.
which is a UK. There's an American version now, but it started as a UK reality show, and it's just all these hot couples, these hot single people in a what do they call it? A not a casa
Brothel?
No, not a brothel.
It's basically what it is.
What do they call? Oh, villa. It's like a
Okay,
Spanish
yes.
villa, and it kind of works the same as a Bachelor in
Like on a
Paradise
beach or something?
where like new couples come in, and if you like somebody else more, you can start talking to them, whatever. But I got sucked into seasons and seasons of this show. I think one, because British reality TV has no bleeping. So they call each
a little
other
better, yeah.
they call each other the C word, and they say the F word, and it's all uncensored. So it's like unfiltered basically. But I think some people that watch like shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, they understand that this is basically scripted. I would hope they understand that this is not good TV, but it's hella entertaining.
Yeah.
And I can't argue with that because some of the most garbage stuff out there is super entertaining. Even the worst movies can be super entertaining sometimes.
That's kind of why they do well, right? It's
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
That's why they're.
My favorite movie, and you can tell me if it's garbage or not, hands down, anytime anybody asks me, what's your favorite movie? My favorite movie is Yes Man with Jim Carrey and Zoe Deschanel.
Nice.
Is that a garbage movie to you?
I wouldn't say that's a garbage movie. That's a fine comedy.
I thought for
I like that
sure
movie.
If I could, I thought for sure you were gonna say Mighty Ducks.
I like that movie.
I just had the Mighty
I like
Ducks.
Gordon Bombay. Yeah. Other movie I like a lot, I know Dom was going to say this one is garbage, is the OG Paul Blart Mall Cop. Because I love Kevin James. I'm a huge Kevin James fan.
Okay.
That's real.
One of the things Dom pointed out to me and showed me a lot this summer was Kevin James does a lot of like, are they short films exactly?
Yeah.
or-
So Kevin James has been making short films on YouTube,
They're good.
but they are super well made, and he's actually a really good actor. And there's usually some sort of joke or pun at the end of it, but they're super well made, cinematic. He must hire a crew of actual filmmakers to create whatever he's written. But it just is like Kevin James has been in all this garbage for years, and now on YouTube he's making some of the best stuff he's ever been in. So it's just kind of funny to me. And I like Kevin James. I really like King of Queens, which me and Cole watched a lot of. And I don't know, I'm sure there's a couple other Kevin James roles that I've enjoyed. But
Grown Ups movies.
Yeah.
I like the original one.
But yeah, on YouTube, I think he's making like the best stuff of his career.
Do you think that a lot? It's because like he's finally not bound by like traditional like movie studio stuff. He's just free to make what he wants, and he can just make whatever he wants. Is that why, or
I don't even know what it is. Kevin James has never written and directed a full movie, so I can't really like compare it in those terms. Like he's acted in a bunch of movies and Adam Sandler stuff and TV shows and whatever, but he never had. I don't know what you'd call it.
give me a mask?
Yeah, my mask broke.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him.
I was trying to adjust it.
Yeah. Like
Calvin,
he said, just speak up. Right, Calvin. Just speak up. Let's fix the issue. Let's get it over
I
with.
apologize. I broke rule number 1.
But yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because he can make little things on YouTube and have like no interference. But I don't know. They're kind of different worlds to compare because the modern movie studio is a business. They don't care. They don't really care about art unless it makes money. So I mean, most of the stuff Kevin James has been in, like there's that MMA movie he was in a few years ago, Here Comes the Boom, and he was in that.
I watched that.
He was in that Zookeeper movie. Like those are not good movies, and I haven't seen either of them, so I can't really even talk about
Just
them.
like, I
but
know
they're
they're
movies that you can put in theaters, and they'll make X amount of money, and everyone will get paid, and you can go on with your life. That's what Adam Sandler does. Adam Sandler makes garbage now. I love Adam Sandler. He's made some of my favorite movies, but currently he's just churning out Netflix content I don't even want to call them movies because it's
Well,
just
Hidden
like,
Gem was really good. That was recent.
Yeah, I
That was,
don't-
what, 2 years ago?
I don't count that as an Adam Sandler movie.
He's in it.
Yeah, but an Adam Sandler movie to me is a Happy Madison movie.
Happy Madison is a good movie though.
No, that's his production company.
Well, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
excuse
Happy
me.
Gilmore's awesome, but like those, like Just Go With It and That's My Boy. Even though I do think both of those movies are funny, they're not quote
It's all
unquote.
whooped now.
They're not quote unquote good movies. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
How do you feel about the change from like movie theater like premieres to more like at home Netflix digital releases? Like, do you think a movie should be consumed in theaters only? And what do you think about like awards with that stuff?
So it's funny you say that because I don't know if you saw the news, but HBO Max just announced that they are having all their 2021 movies release on HBO Max the same day as in theaters. So that's movies like Dune and Matrix 4, and there's a whole list of other movies, but like some big movies are on there. Wonder Woman 84 is coming out on Christmas Day, and it's unprecedented. There was this conversation about the new James Bond movie because that was getting shopped around to Apple and things like that. And basically the consensus was like, if this happens, you cannot put the genie back in the bottle. Things will change forever if this happens. And it didn't happen, but then Warner Brothers was like, we'll put Wonder Woman out there for you. So I made a realization a long time ago that I might not make a movie that goes to movie theaters ever in my life. And I also made a realization that there are other storytelling formats like miniseries and television shows and stuff like that that are super popular right now that you can channel whatever movie you wanted to make through that format. So when it comes to this Warner Brothers thing, Christopher Nolan just put out this whole statement. He's pissed. And he's pissed. And I think they tried Tenet this summer, putting that in theaters. That made no money. It was a failure, basically, a financial failure. So Warner Brothers is like, okay, we're not doing that again. We're not going to, try and preserve the art of the cinema for one person. We need to make our money. So I'm hoping that after 2021, there will be a different strategy rather than the same day. It's not going to happen, but I hope deep down it does.
Because you like the cinema experience?
Yeah,
that
I
day
think
one
the
experience?
cinematic experience is something to cherish.
Really?
I don't think every movie needs to be seen in theaters, but there are certain ones that, like I saw Hateful Eight, a Quentin Tarantino movie in theaters, and I took friends that weren't typically movie fans. And an hour into the movie, it's a 3-hour movie, nothing has happened in the first hour besides conversation. And I get a friend look over at me and he's like, what is this shit? Like, this movie sucks. This is so boring. I'm like, yo, just wait. Give it time. Another hour goes by. He looks at me. This is awesome. So I think in theaters, you are automatically forced to have patience. So
You're not just getting up and leaving like this guy does.
right, you can't just change the channel if nothing happens in 20 minutes. So it makes you forced to be like, okay, what happens? Even if you aren't interested at first, by the end of the movie, you might be like, wow, that was incredible. Like I said, I don't think every movie needs to be shown or seen in theaters. Like a lot of those rom-coms are going to be Netflix content now. A lot of the, they used to make like mid-budget dramas in like forever into the 2000s. Those aren't a thing anymore. So I'm hoping that those things will have homes on streaming services now. I think the movie theaters will just become a place to watch big Marvel movies. And that's basically all you're going to get.
Well, what are the advantages of going to see a movie? I'll let you answer before I have a rebuttal.
He's already got it.
Well, like I said, I think just the patience.
Like, so besides the patience, like the big, like, I'll go see Star Wars in IMAX all the time. And obviously you can't get an IMAX screen in your house unless you're,
right. That's
but
like an advantage to COVID, I would say, which there are not many, was I was able to see Tenet in IMAX with no one in the theater.
Whoa.
And it was awesome. Like that movie ripped. It was sick. But you're not going to have that same experience at home. Even if you have the biggest 4K TV, even if you have the best sound system, you're not going to have that same experience. Even just the camaraderie. I go back and forth on this because the first time I saw Uncut Gems, there was some scummy people behind me talking the whole time. like just yapping. And I hate that, dude. Like if you go to the movies, like just keep your mouth shut. And people just think they can do whatever they want. I think for a number of different reasons. We
Still
don't
do it with the masks and fucking
Yeah,
everything.
it's just like people are so entitled and selfish that they don't care about other people or their experience. So like they will just talk and make jokes and be obnoxious. That's a huge downside of the movie theaters, I think, because I've had to talk, quote unquote, to people multiple times at multiple movies. I saw that Way Back movie with Ben Affleck. That was like one of the last movies I saw in theaters before COVID happened. And there was this two old ladies yapping the whole time. So when I left the theater, I was like, man, you guys are a couple teenage girls, aren't you? You just couldn't keep your mouth shut.
Oh, man.
Like, it doesn't even matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what age you are. They just think they're so entitled they can just talk out loud.
I just want to go to the movies with you now. One, for the fact that you're gonna like force me to enjoy a movie, and two, the fact that like if anyone's talking, you're gonna like stand up and like I can just like sit there and eat my popcorn.
Yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes. I had to tell a group.
Did I see that with you? I
don't
think I
know
saw a
if
couple of the Planet of the Apes movies.
I saw
in
that with
theaters.
Steve Kyers and all those guys, but there were these guys talking, yapping, and laughing at the most inappropriate parts. I go, if you guys wanted to see a comedy, you know, there's one right next door.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off because 2 minutes later, an actually funny scene happened where everybody laughed. And he's like, oh, I'm not supposed to laugh. Oh, you just told me I can't laugh. Are you kidding me? I was like, well, that was appropriate to laugh at. You were laughing at a death scene obnoxiously.
Oh my God.
So there are cons to the movies. But what I was going to say, the pros to the camaraderie is like seeing Avengers Endgame in a packed theaters with like fans of the movie was a great experience. Seeing Star Wars Force Awakens, like opening day with like true Star Wars fans was an awesome experience.
It's definitely cool.
There are awesome experiences in the movies that can even carry over to smaller movies. Like when I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I left the theater and there's a lot of divisive chatter. That was a controversial movie.
Like Hollywood theaters, like
No, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the most recent Quentin Tarantino movie.
my mistake.
So some people were like, yo, that sucked. That sucked. That was his worst movie. And then I hear people in my other ear saying, might be his best movie. That was incredible. I'm blown away right now. I'm speechless. Let's see it again in an hour. So I like overhearing those conversations and being able to like throw a line to somebody and all that stuff. I just think it's a communal environment. It's like Christopher Nolan relates it to like a church. Like you go in there and you exercise your demons and you share emotion with people and you learn something. And then at the end of the movie, you can take all that information you learned and process it for yourselves and have an intelligent conversation about it, even if it is a stupid comedy or a self-serious drama.
See, I equate sports to that same sort of thing when you talk about like a church. I think, you know, going from one practice to the next season and things like that, you know, I haven't thought about it as much maybe as Dom has in that exact sense. But I think that's why he's huge into movies and I'm huge into sports because there's life lessons that I learn in sports every single day that I try to teach to the kids that I coach. And there's definitely things that Dom learns about, you know, whether it's pertains to his life or things that he can do, you know, in cinema himself. But the one thing I would say though is I know you're huge on like the IMAX screen and everything, but now the quality of like TVs and speaker systems you can get, I know you said it's not the same, but to me, and I think the average movie watcher, IMAX, yes, definitely. You're not going to get that. The IMAX, what's it, 4K or whatever it's called, UHD, whatever it is.
all that
so like
crap.
seeing Star Wars and that, I'll definitely see that. Like Dom said, it's a really cool experience to, you know, see everybody in there and you're laughing at the same times and you're taken aback at other moments altogether. It's definitely a cool experience. But to me, I don't think for like the average movie watcher that if I want to sit down and watch, you know, the next Wonder Woman or whatever it is on my TV with my surround sound, there's not going to be that much of a drop off that I can sense and hear and see in quality as opposed to going to the movie theater and just seeing it on the normal screen in Destiny USA in a movie theater that smells like feet and has popcorn everywhere.
Yeah.
Calvin, where do you land on the spectrum? You big movie theater guy? You a big at home guy?
I'll take the movie theater any day.
Really?
When COVID's gone. But I mean, I also really agree with you about how like it's pretty similar nowadays. Like, but IMAX is still IMAX. So.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything better in IMAX. I mean, unless maybe you're Jeff Bezos. You know, so.
Right.
No, totally. And yeah, I don't know. Not everyone at home is going to have like a nice 4K TV and a nice sound system. I think some people will, but
They're easier to come by now.
no,
though, as
they're
opposed to
definitely
5,
cheap.
10
They're
years
cheaper than
ago.
like I got my 4K 55-inch TV for less than $400 this summer. My brother got a similar size 4K TV like 5 years ago, and it was like double the price. So everything is becoming more affordable and more customizable. Like Cole has all these Sonos system speakers, and I mean, I would be cranking some movies in his basement if I had his setup.
Yeah.
But like in terms of Wonder Woman, I'm glad I can just watch Wonder Woman at home and not have to go to a theater because that's a movie I only mildly care about. So there's like an advantage to it. But for a movie like Dune that comes out next year, I'm still gonna wait to see that in IMAX. But the advantage is I can rewatch it as soon as I want at home. So there's so many pros and cons and weird things to discuss. Like an artsy drama, do I need to see that in theaters? I think I want to, but if I'm not able to, I'll pay the $20 to watch it at home and have a basically similar experience with it and be completely fine.
See, that's where I differ too. Is I don't think there's been many movies besides the Star Wars, and even some of the Disney Star Wars I didn't really like, but it's still cool watching them in the theater. Like I'll watch them in the theater and I'll be blown away. Like The Last Jedi, The Last Jedi. I was like, oh, that might be one of the the best Star Wars movie I've seen, and then I'll rewatch it again, and I just don't and I don't really agree. I don't agree with it because I was just sort of in the moment through the whole theater and the moment in general. Excuse me, that I watch it again in my basement, and I go, you know what? It's not that great. Like,
So you got absorbed into like
Yes,
the atmosphere.
exactly.
That can definitely happen.
Yes.
When I saw Invisible Man this summer, I was like, damn, that was really good. That surprised me. And then I rewatched it at home and I'm like, plot hole, nitpick, plot hole, nitpick.
Do you think that's just
that was
watching it a
stupid.
second time, or do you think it's the theater that?
I think it's
It could be
both.
a little both, yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's both.
Yeah.
Because I've seen movies that I like more the second time I watch it. Like, I don't know an example, but I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, maybe I was too tired or not in the right mood, and I'll watch it and just be like, that was fine. 2 years later, I rewatch it. It's one of my favorite movies.
I just watched The Haunting of Bly Manor, and I watched it a second time,
Oh, wow.
and that was it's a series.
Yeah.
And the second time it's unbelievable. I mean, it was so much better the second time.
Really?
And the first time I loved it, and I instantly restarted it over because I loved it so much. And when I watch it back the second time, all the little details and the things you don't know that you're supposed to be catching on to because of things that come on later, it's like, whoa, this is mind bending the second time.
Yeah, I think horror is usually better the second time, honestly, especially horrors with like twists or mysteries or whatever, because you know what to expect, but then you can, like you said, you can explore or look for clues on the path to get there a lot more. That is a good show to do that with because there are so many like little clues laid out and little hints that you don't pick up the first time. Whereas when you rewatch it right away, you're like, oh my God, he just referred to that thing that happens in the 8th episode or whatever. And I really like this new genre, this modern genre of horror, because it's all backed by emotion. Like it's all about human nature and the emotion of families and the family dynamics and stuff. Both those haunting shows do that with like addiction and family and lineage and legacies and generations and stuff like that.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
It's not a Cole show.
Okay. They film same house, same set, two completely different plots and series.
Okay.
And it's unbelievable. I love them. It's like that was like my favorite two shows of like the past couple of years.
I'd be more apt to watch a TV show as opposed to a movie. Because like I said, a lot of the movies I get bored with. So with a TV show, if it's, 35, 45 minutes, an hour, I can probably sit through that. Movie going on 2 hours, halfway through, I'd probably get bored.
For sure.
And I think too, like the reason I don't like going to the movies is I'm not like cheap or anything. And everybody spends their money on certain things. Some people gamble, some people go to the movies, some people, drink alcohol excessively, whatever it is. Everybody's got their own thing. So Dom likes to spend his movies. I'm never going to tell me, oh, you're wasting your money going to the movies. But almost every time I go to the movies, I go, why did I just spend money to see that? I would have waited 6 months to watch it in my living room.
I feel that. I definitely feel that because I feel like I can't appreciate movies the way somebody like you can appreciate them like a son.
No, you definitely can't. Dom is otherworldly.
So
when it
like
comes to
for
that.
me, I'm 100% like, Calvin said he's the big I got myself a little
He
twisted.
just
there.
directed you.
Yeah.
He's literally the director.
He's
That
a
was
big
great.
cinema guy. I'm a big watch at home guy, but I'm pretty frugal, all things considered. Like I make my investments here and there, but like, you know, I personally don't get the value unless it's a
Yes.
date. I love going on a date with Lex, like to the movies. Then it's an experience. It's a
Gives you
fun
something
time.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to do.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? That I love that whole process, but I can't ever see myself going into the movies like just to watch a movie by
He
myself.
goes by himself.
No, I've gone
a
by
lot.
myself a lot.
I
yeah.
believe it. And I respect it and I understand it from somebody like you.
Well, it was cool. Well, at Oswego, the theater or the tickets were only like $6 or
That
$7.
theater is awesome. I like going.
So
there.
they had those super nice recliner seats, and it was only $7 to see a movie.
And it was like a vintage theater too.
Really?
So
Yeah.
it was kind of like stepping into like a different like.
It
time
was
period.
cool. It was definitely cool. And then before COVID, I was ripping the Regal subscription. $22 a month, as many movies as you want. Rewatch
worth
as many movies as you want.
That's worth
so that if you do the math, that's less than 2 movie tickets.
Yeah.
So I was going to see Uncut Gems, and I pre-ordered my Star Wars ticket, and you only got to pay a surcharge for the IMAX, yada, 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 yada. I used the hell out of that thing. COVID happened. I can't use it anymore, whatever. But yeah, I had no problem. Because to me, it's also about support. Like that's one of the reasons I was always a little hesitant about like torrenting or like stealing
Yeah, of
stuff
course.
was because I would rather just pay the $6 on video on demand, or now it's going to be like $20 for new movies, video on demand. I have no problem paying that because I just feel like I'm supporting the arts. Like I saw this movie called Gretel and Hansel over the summer, and that movie stunk. But at the end of it, I was like, I'm okay. I paid to see that movie because I hope there's more small, weirder movies put in theaters. So the fact that I just contributed $12,
Good way to look at it.
That is
the fact that I just contributed $12 to see this movie that I didn't totally enjoy, maybe the next time this studio puts out a movie in theaters, it will be, you know, a great movie that I'll enjoy. There's not too many weird movies out there, honestly, anymore, because everything is so sanitized. Like all those Marvel movies and the Star Wars movies, they're so sanitized through a studio's lens that there's no actual emotion or like thought behind any of it. Like some of this new Star Wars stuff, I love Star Wars, but it was just like studio money making tactics to the maximum. And it's kind of gross in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I like Star Wars, so I'm going to keep seeing that stuff.
How do you feel about movies that don't premiere at all in theaters being in award shows and like winning awards, even if they've never like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so this was a whole controversy. Should the Oscars allow Netflix movies
Yeah.
or whatever into their nominations? I say yes, they are movies. Like, why would you exclude them just because they're on Netflix? So, and I think that's going to be more. Well, for this year, it's going to be that rule is not applied because everything came out on streamers this year. But I think they should just keep that rule because Palm Springs, the Hulu comedy with Andy Samberg, that was one of my favorite movies I watched all year. It was hilarious. Wow. Unprofessional. But yeah, at the end of the day, a movie's a movie. It should be
Well, I'm
nominated
I'm,
for the Oscars.
I'm not privy to the facts and any of the reason why they wouldn't allow those. Like, what's the reasoning behind not allowing a movie that went right to Netflix to
saw
not be at
the-
an award show?
I saw the argument being made, and I was curious from somebody's perspective, like you. What is the,
Yeah, their argument is just like, it's not even an argument. It's more just like a requirement. They are required to show this movie in theaters for at least 7 days or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So like Netflix was kind of working around that, where they would just put the movie in a random theater for 2 weeks, and then they're eligible for the Oscars.
This is just like the old guard, right? Like
Yeah,
just-
it's just the old, you know, the Oscars mean nothing. They are another way to make money. The best movie never wins the Oscar. The best actor never wins his Oscar, et cetera, et cetera. And they just have these old Vanguard rules of like what applies and what's good and what's not good. When in reality, it's just like, oh, we'll give Gary Oldman his award now for an okay movie because we didn't give it to him 10 years ago for a role he deserved. And that happens all the time with the Oscars.
What's that
it's
movie
kind of crazy.
that like swept the Oscars this year? And me and Riccardi wanted
Oh,
to bet
yes.
on it, and you were like, "No way it wins. It's a foreign film. It's not going to win."
Oh,
Parasite, yeah.
And what happened, Dom?
So we made
Dom
some
owes me like $300.
we made some fun bets for the Oscars this year, and
Sounds
I
like
was
we lost them all.
I was playing it like
Pretty
safe
much.
and in the mind of the Oscars. Like the Oscars don't appreciate anything good, so they're not going to give a foreign movie the best Oscar. It's going to win best foreign movie or best foreign language movie, whatever they call it. I was like, it's totally going to win that. I highly doubt it's going to win best picture. Lo and behold, they shocked me and it won best picture. But
I know it was like
it's an anomaly. Like
Yeah.
the next big artistic foreign movie is not going to be appreciated like Parasite or whatever.
Clip it.
Yeah.
We got it.
And I hope I'm
that
wrong.
might be on Freezing Cold Takes one
Easily.
day.
I truly hope I'm wrong, but the Oscars just prove themselves again and again that they don't know what they're doing.
That's with all award shows. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
like I don't even pay attention to them because they just mean absolutely nothing.
I haven't.
Like the Grammys, like
Yes.
all the best artists of the Grammys this year
Macklemore
are all
won the
pop
Grammy.
they're all pop
I was
artists.
going to mention that,
Like-
that Macklemore thing.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal.
I mean, I liked Macklemore when he was out, but I can't remember exactly
beat
every
Kendrick-
album that was
yeah, he
out.
beat
But he beat
Kendrick's,
Kendrick Lamar. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
he beat Kanye
It was
too.
Pimp a
Good
Butterfly.
Good Kid. Wasn't it Good Kid?
No,
Mad
it was
City?
Good Kid, Mad City. It was
Good Kid, Mad City, Yeezus,
Yep.
and I think Magna Carta too. I could be wrong. On
I
that.
think you're correct.
No, I think you're
Which
right.
either some huge albums, and yeah, Macklemore at the time he was like a sensation. He was good. I still like some of his songs.
Yeah.
But
was
I
bumping
mean, now
Thrift
what's he
Shop all
doing?
summer.
Now he's Thrift Shop is where he sort of went downhill. But now he's just golfing and living life with his kids or whatever. Which
Oh,
no
for sure.
knock on him. The dude made his bread and got out. But
Make your buck.
just
make
not
some
the right
investments and-
decision.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. He's a rap connoisseur. Like truly, I don't understand it to the level of that, but I still knew that was like, ooh,
We might have to have a conversation about that one day.
that doesn't make sense. That
I like
does not-
him a little more every minute. He got me the mask.
He's a good dude.
LeBron fan.
Oh man,
huge.
good dude. Cool, man. So I want to talk about something you guys tweeted. Actually, I saw it. I think it was actually IG. Rat Trash Bum Boy.
Okay.
What do we got coming? What's happening?
So
Coming
Rat
next?
Trash is the movie I mentioned that Witter's doing the music for.
Okay.
And basically, we had an idea and we're like, nah, let's not do that. Let's start fresh. And that happens all the time. We're ready to shoot something. We've written something. And then we're like, you know what? No, just for whatever reason. I don't know. Just a feeling, I guess.
Okay.
So for that Rat Trash, we were trying to reference or emulate or pay homage to movies like Kids, Larry Clark's Kids. I don't know if you guys have even ever heard of this movie.
not familiar.
So this movie, it feels like a documentary.
Okay.
It feels super real, and it's just about skateboarders in New York City.
Oh.
And the plot line, even though it's a very loose plot, is that you learn this one kid that is quote unquote deflowering virgins has HIV. So he's spreading HIV unknowingly to all these people.
This
So
is kids. This is not Rat Trash Bum Boy.
no, yeah, this is Kids, not my movie.
I was like, damn, it's a heavy plot.
So it's like funny and stuff, and it's really cool how all these skaters getting into trouble in New York City and going to parties and stuff. But then there's like this horrific subplot that you're following that literally feels like a horror movie, and you're like, oh God, please no. Like I was more reactive to that movie than any other horror movie I've ever watched. Just like, oh my God, no, that was terrifying. That was repulsive. Oh my God. So movies like that, The Florida Project, Fish Tank, they all have this similar feel of being really authentic and realistic. So that was kind of our challenge with this one. We were just like, okay, for this movie, because that's what we try and do. We're like, for this movie, let's try and do this really well. Our third project was this 20-something minute serial killer movie. But looking back on it, there's so many things that I don't like about it. But the thing we learned from that movie was just to make an assembled story, like a full story, rather than the typical short film story. Because like a 6-minute short film is honestly just like a scene or something ambiguous or whatever. So for Rat Trash Bum Boy, after using the black magic the first time on our film, The Painter, which was just mostly like, let's show off the black magic. For Rat Trash, we were like, let's try and do dialogue and characters really authentically. And I really think we nailed it. Ben Greco, my friend from Oswego, who is involved with a bunch of different movie stuff. He's at Pigeon Paperbacks on Instagram.
Get the plug.
He does some wild stuff.
At the Benjamin Greco on Instagram as well. He does some crazy stuff. Like he's into like Adult Swim comedies kind of style videos. So like I've helped him make a video called Same Man, Different Man, which is a game show where you're seeing
There's a lot of screaming.
Where you-
it's like
where-
Eric Andre on drugs.
where it's like, are these guys the same person or different people? And it's obviously two different people. So it's just like absurdist comedy.
Okay.
He's our main character. We have Mike Eastman as another character. We have my brother Joey playing a different character. We have Justin Witter as a character. And,
Nice.
and they were all really great about memorizing their lines and being committed to the scene. We got to run through these scenes 10, 12 times in a bunch of different ways. So the number one challenge is finding non-actors to memorize lines. Like, I can't memorize lines. Some of my performances in our movies lack because I can't memorize lines, and it's just super amateurish.
Tough.
It's hard. It's super hard.
Because you think you know it, and then you go into it, and at least for me, because I help them do some things. I did the Tales of Unexplained with them.
Yeah.
And even the Wiffle Ball documentary that me and Dom worked on pretty much, there'd be things where we would like plan out what we want to say. And then I'll start to say it, and I like get caught on a word or a way I said something, and I go, oh, crap, what was I supposed to say next? So I'm halfway through it, and then I forget. Like it's that Michael Scott thing where sometimes I just start a sentence and don't even know where it's going. And that's sort of it. Like, you know the line, you read it 6 times, you go, okay, I got this. I know what I'm going to say. Here we go. I got it. You go in, 3 words in. What was it again? Read it again. Cut.
That's why we got 4 takes and some solo pods, because I do the same thing. I'm like, I got my notes here, and I'm like, welcome to Coffee Free, and it's like, no.
When I do Bing drinking, we have like certain the way ingredients are supposed to be laid out, what you put in first, what order I want to say it in, and I wrote it myself, and I still forget it when I go up there to read it, or to say it out loud, and then when I go again on my phone to read it, I read it ahead and just go, okay, you know what, I knew that, just the camera sort of gets you. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, it's definitely part of it. And I don't proclaim to be an actor or anything, but even in myself, I've noticed just like improvements where if I mess up a take, just restart, keep going. Don't make a whole thing out of it. Don't go, oh crap!
Being mindful.
I missaid this word, or I said it funny and it sounded weird in my head. Because most likely the person recording or the people watching are not going to notice you saying a word weird or whatever. So it's all about, like, part of it is us making technical improvements to our movies, and like I said, like Rat Trash Bum Boy was an exercise in writing and characters, but it also, we're not going to forget every other aspect of filmmaking just because we're focusing on one part. So Rat Trash Bum Boy, while being maybe the most authentic movie we've made in terms of character and dialogue, is also the best looking thing we've made. The color is our best use of color. We were able to focus on like locations and set design and character costumes and stuff like that. So our next movie, whatever it ends up being, I hope is an improvement on all those things again.
That's awesome.
So we're just trying to be better at what we're making.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm inspired by that. Like that. We were just literally doing a podcast before you guys came in, and one of the things that we talked about was like, you need to make stuff that sucks.
Yeah. Right.
And you kind of need to go off of that, and everyone needs to make stuff that sucks. But eventually, that stuff sucks less, and then it's like, oh, we're doing something.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. And then it's like, oh, we just made something awesome. Is this like your first thing where you thought that, or was there a moment before where you're like, whoa, we just did something?
I'm usually
we
pretty
do it a lot though.
I'm usually pretty happy after we complete all of our projects.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it's only upon like looking back where you notice the mistakes. But even while filming, like we learned a lot about recording sound for Rat Trash Bum Boy. We did it a certain way with the lav microphones, and then we realized after filming was done that way does not work. That's not a good way to record audio. What we were doing was we had the lav mic on one character, and we would do his side of the scene, and then we would put the lav mic on the other person and do his side of the scene. But it just, for editing purposes, it was really wonky cutting audio like that and like bouncing back and forth, because you could tell they were different. It just sounded different when you cut back and forth, even if the microphone was the same. So it's just like, I mean, it applies to everything, but just learn from your mistakes. Like be conscious of what you're doing in the moment. I put the setting at this way on the camera and it looked fine on screen, but when I imported it to the computer, it was a little too bright. Luckily on the Blackmagic, you can change all these settings after the fact and all these cheat codes and stuff. But it still applies. Learn from your mistakes. Be conscious, be aware of what you are doing in the moment.
And that's what we sort of talked about in the beginning with mindfulness, being all in. And just like Dom said, if you make a mistake on a line, don't get mad, don't get flustered with yourself, rework it and do it again. And, basically like Dom and Joey, they do all the short films and everything. And I do help with the projects and everything. But exactly what Dom says too, is you're always like happy with when we put it out, and then you watch it again and again and you see it and, we could have done this better. What we've done now, we obviously have seen that improvement, but that's what you need to do with everything. And perfection is the enemy of progress. That's one of the things I always try to live by. So, you know, you may not have all the tools to do your podcast. Obviously you got, you know, expensive microphones, 2 cameras, you know, you got this TV, this couch setup and everything, but you could still record your podcast just with an iPhone mic.
Oh,
It may not be the best quality, but you're still improving and getting better and developing what you want to do and putting your passion right on the table and out there. And there's no negatives in doing that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I always live by, and I want to improve myself too. You know, golf is one of the reasons I try to become more mindful too, because it's a frustrating game.
Oh man.
And Dom got frustrated a couple times, and it's tough in the moment to when you see somebody starting to, you know, deteriorate during a round,
Meltdown.
and you know Dom's cue is he just won't talk for a couple of holes.
I go lockjaw. I get lockjaw.
He'll just be shut down. And you know, for me, you know, you get a couple of drinks in and it's a little easier, but I just try to think every round is, you know, just hanging out with your buddies, and you know, whatever happens. The positive of golf is going out there and be able to, you know, build memories. And yeah, you're getting better, but I'm never going to be on the tour. I'm never going to play in any sort of tournaments that are for any huge amount of money. No one's going to see my face on NBC and, you know, have Jim Nantz call my name walking up to the 18th green or anything like that. So I think with everything you do in life, whether it's movies and our business side of things, whether it's you guys with your podcast, whether it's people on a journey from fitness trying to lose weight or, you know, gain muscle or do whatever it is, just being all in and improving day by day and, you know, just getting 1% better.
Yeah, I had to take a break from golf for like a month because I had 2 rounds that literally affected my mental health. Like they messed me up, and I took a break. I started reading more. I was reading a lot of what Cole was sharing from RGC, Random Golf Club, and I was like, okay, this is the way to approach golf.
That's why I started golf as RGC. That's why I'm big in it with Chase. And Chase plays on the OCC golf team, my brother Chase, and he is huge on YouTube. Every time I go into the basement, he's got a Twitch stream or a YouTube video up or something. He's watching that. And Random Golf Club, for those of you who don't know, it's more... It's not so much about keeping score and improving your score day by day. Yeah, obviously you want to get better and, you know, whatever your individual goal is, but it's all about
the experience.
The experience, exactly. The experience of playing golf, who you're with, what course you're at. It could be the nicest course on earth. Could be, you know, just a piece of crap, you know, town course or whatever it is. But it really doesn't matter as long as it's your mindset going into it and what you want to get out of it. And, you know, not really worrying about the outcome. One of the things I have is Rule 17B. It's always laugh at the bad shots. I've seen Eric share people have that tattooed on them now.
Really?
And it's expanding all over the globe for what these people are doing. And the one meetup we had, the video we did, I think it was like 22 people went out, played Rogues Roost West, and nobody kept score. You had everybody just going out there. 20 people walking down the fairway, just hitting their shots, playing golf, having a good time, talking to people you haven't known in a while. And, you know, you can get caught up in playing for money. I don't really like doing that because, 1, I know I'm probably going to lose my money. And 2, I know if I start to crumble, no matter how many times I preach to myself, okay, you know what, just stay centered, just relax. You know, you can hit a good shot here. You've done it before. It's all in your mind why you can't hit this shot. It's all in your mind why you're not making this putt. You know, you hit that one fat because you were thinking about hitting it fat. And if you can just go out there and, you know, hey, I'm hanging out with Dom today, one of my best friends. We're out on the golf course. We got the opportunity, the privilege to go out here and play golf. Let's enjoy it. Yeah. And I think that just doesn't apply to golf. It goes to everything you do in your life.
Well, it's the same thing as what I was saying about movies. Be conscious, be aware. When I swing the club, oh, I lifted my head up. That's why it spliced to that way. Oh, my hands felt weird on that one. Maybe I'm going to change my grip on that one. Every move you make, analyze it and think about it and
aim to improve.
And then on your next swing, apply everything you've learned about golf while not overthinking it, and just try your best. You know, be loose, be whatever it is. Just I don't know. It's just the same thing about being conscious and being aware, learning from your mistakes.
That's what we're doing here. You know, trying to make movies. And when I saw Dom's tweet today, I asked myself. He goes, he says that same thing every time. Else. But I
always do this honest post about like, I'm really excited for you guys to watch it. I think this is the best thing we've ever made. I basically say the same thing.
Well, he's not lying.
No, it's true.
And I'm not knocking him for it because
it's just funny.
He knows that, or at least he thinks if you put it to contest or had somebody review it, it may be slightly different, but he knows the work he put in is the best he could possibly do at this time with his current resources and his current knowledge.
And it's slightly better than it was the last time.
Yeah. Maybe one element isn't as good as the last one, but hopefully all these other elements are, and that's just
whole
what
of
you
the
got to
song.
think about.
Yeah.
Going back to the phone thing, using your phone to record, filmmakers say, you have a camera on your phone now. Almost everyone has a phone. If you want to go out and make a movie, whip out your phone and start recording. Like there's nothing holding you back from doing anything. Granted, there are,
There's things you can't
there's
do,
income things and there's limits to your area
course.
and whatever. But if you want to do something, there is a way to at least learn about it. There's a way to at least try it in one sense, even if it is not the truest, fullest sense of that skill or that craft.
Like TikTok is an example. That's everybody's on that now. You can see there's like prison TikTok, and those guys have the worst phones known to man. I don't know how they get those phones in there. I don't know what the rules are for prison. I hope to never know those rules, but they make TikToks and they could get 1 million views. And yeah, maybe it's because they did something funny with their cellmate or whatever,
Yeah.
but you could have a filmmaker with the best camera on the market, with the best audio, the best sound effects that they recorded afterwards, everything.
Yeah.
And the
It could
story
get 100
sucks.
and it could get
Yeah.
128 views, so it's not about really the equipment you have, and everybody is well off in different areas, and they have their own advantages, but it's just about going out there and doing it and putting yourself out there. And you may get criticism for it. That was one of the things when I did writing in the newspaper, and I did my hockey games all the time. There's people who are going to be out there who are going to criticize you and say things maybe that are negatively, but you can't listen to any of that outside noise. You just got to focus on yourself and trying to improve what you're doing right now.
Yeah. One of the things on the first episode I made of this before Calvin was part of the team, I said, one of the things I'm going to do different, because I had a podcast in the past and it failed. And I look back at it and I think, why did that fail? Why did that not work? What stopped me from making the stuff I wanted to make and having the conversations I wanted to have? And it was just like the chase of like perfection every time. It got exhausting to the point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. So first episode of this podcast, I came on and I was like, look, not every episode is going to sound great. Not every episode is going to look great. It's just, we're not going to just chase perfection. We're going to put out content that adds value to people's lives. This conversation adds value to people's lives, right? So even if like I heard one of the cameras die halfway through, you know what I mean? Now we only have one camera angle instead of two. We're
Make
still
it
going to
work,
put this
yeah.
out, and we're going to learn. And next time, maybe like we figure out how to plug that thing in. So, moving forward, it's all good. I put out some episodes that are literally just like, oh shit, like I'm working, it's late at night, no one's around, I got a thought. So I hold up my phone, open the Anchor app, click record, and just record it. Yeah. And that sort of stuff creatively, maybe you guys knew like intuitively, like being creative, like you guys just being creatives, but I had to learn that. And I had to learn like, oh, if I'm chasing perfection, like it's just impossible.
I don't know if I really do. I guess I sort of learned that now, but when I was in college, one of the jobs I had my sophomore year, it was kind of crazy. I was the women's hockey beat writer to start. Mm-hmm. I just went in one day and I impressed the hell out of the guy with my hockey knowledge, asking him all these things.
Okay.
And on the spot, he goes, "You got the job. You got it." Never wrote a thing for them. He goes, "You're the women's hockey beat writer." And later that hockey season, the sports editor, the guy who I impressed, had to quit. Couldn't do his job anymore. His mom said, "You're not doing it. Your grades suck. You're gone." So I had to be both the women's hockey beat writer, the men's hockey beat writer, and I was also on the intermission, pre and post game show for the radio station. So I was doing 3 jobs in one night. And you got to get the stories out in a timely manner. But to be honest with you, not many people were reading them. But that didn't matter to me. I was just doing it for experience, and because I like doing it. I like going down and talking to the coaches in the tunnel, and interviewing people is a skill I think I have, and I learned a lot of that by talking to those coaches and those players who were more focused on going out and partying after a win, as opposed to talking to some freshman who's asking them maybe stupid questions at times. I thought I got pretty good at it, but either way, I'd be working these stories. I'd get them in, and there's no editors for me. When we would post the paper out, it'd get edited like 9-10 times a piece, and there'd still be mistakes in there. But I'd write these stories and I'd put them out, and sometimes like in just the middle of the night, I would wake up and I would show, oh my God, I forgot a quote at the end of the sentence. And I would run over, get my laptop, open it up, read through it, find it, and then I'd find like 2 more mistakes, and I'd edit them in there. And it just happened all the time because I was like constantly like searching for perfection. And I would read articles even from the Canucks media in Vancouver, and I would notice a mistake there.
But you still put the stuff
Yeah,
out.
I put
Like,
it was
you-
still out
yeah.
there. Yeah, and it was for people to read, and there would be view counts and everything on it. But
Yeah.
I would notice that mistake, and I'd be like, "Oh no, that's not good. I can't have that. I got to fix it. I got to fix it." And there'd be times when I was running the sports section myself that even after all the proofs were done, all the individual articles were read, it was checked over by section heads 6 times. That I would go through, and I would read every one of the last articles, every bit of text before I would submit it to the editor-in-chief at the time. I would go through and read all of it. And I was completely burned out. A lot of times I would just read through it, and I just couldn't pick up on all those things. And it was almost like this sense of dread. When the paper would come in and I would pick it up, I'd be really happy with all the work we did, but there'd be the sense of dread that if I picked up that newspaper and I misspelled the word in a headline, or I didn't change the color of this picture correctly, or the picture was stretched, or maybe the jump left off a couple of words, I would just be like terrified to read it. So I remember just sitting at my desk sometimes, just holding there, my eyes closed, holding the newspaper. I go, please, please, no mistakes. And then a mistake would happen, and I would just beat myself up about it so bad. And I think that's one of the reasons I got burned out, was because it was that constant chase for perfection. All the while, every single piece I wrote was getting better and better. And by the end of my senior year, when I would submit articles, like Don mentioned earlier, we would win, best article, best news. I wasn't even big in writing news. My junior year, I won best news article in the school for the submission. So I was getting better.
Yeah.
But even if I have that chase for perfection, I suggest you go out there and you do it, but don't hold yourself to such a high standard, because even professionals, they go out there and mess up. But most people, they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think really bugged me, was I'd always be like, okay, if there's a mistake here, I'm going to be so effing mad. And then there'd be a mistake, and I would it would hold in my head forever. And I hated it.
You really just got out of yourself.
Yeah.
Well, Cole just talked about news articles and news writing, but in the same vein, I write scripts in my free time, like bigger projects that hopefully one day I can make, TV show pilots, movie scripts. And if you listen or you talk to actual screenwriters, they say just write it and finish it. It is a draft. You do not need to nitpick every single thing. If you don't like this character decision right here, write it, think about it, move on. Don't get hung up on little details. Don't get hung up on the perfect way to phrase this action or whatever, because you have the idea out there. On the next draft, you're going to be thinking about ways to improve it, or you're going to see something in a different movie that you're going to steal, because that's all movie making is stealing from other people that you think is cool and then making it your own. You're going to see something that's going to help break the story. That's what they call it, breaking the story, or revealing another layer to the story or whatever. So it's all about just finishing, just finish whatever you're working on, analyze it, read it, get notes from people, ask people's opinions. I love asking people's opinions.
Huge, yeah.
I love asking people's opinions. When I write a script, I send it to all my fellow screenwriters or fellow movie buffs or whatever. And a lot of the time they give me ideas that I never even thought of. My brother Joey gave me an idea for this horror script I'm writing that literally changed the whole story. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the way to take this now. Nice. So it's all about just finishing it and hoping that your next draft is better. Even if it isn't better and it's just the same, then maybe your third draft will be way better than the first two.
And it may not be a huge difference in improvement either, but there's something different, whether it's just some idea that your buddy gave you, or maybe in the middle of the night you had an idea and you woke up and you put it in your phone, and the next morning you went and you edited it again. There's things that are always better that you should be proud of, the improvements that you made, instead of hanging up on all the negatives that you couldn't do at that certain time for whatever reason. Your knowledge was lacking, you didn't have the resources, whatever it was. Focus on the positives. Has a positive attitude for the things that you did well.
Yeah. And I bet you probably applied the same strategies without knowing it to all your years of making an ice rink in your backyard, or all the years of making the wiffle ball field. 100%. Oh, this fencing didn't work. Oh, these zip ties were cheap. Let's buy better zip ties. Oh, let's raise the fence because we were getting too many easy home runs or whatever.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you doing this podcast thing, you analyze your first podcast, you knew what way you wanted to take the second one. I'm sure you tried out a bunch of different microphones before landing on these microphones.
Yep.
No matter what you do, finish it, complete it, put it out in the world, ask people what they think, and then take all that information and make your next project, make your next venture even better. Make everything you're working on the best thing you've made.
Yeah. If you're a student, you get grades. That's everybody who's in school knows that. If you get a bad grade, what are you doing to get a better grade the next time? It's the same thing.
Yep.
Boys, I think that is the perfect lesson to end this episode on. I absolutely love it. I think that's one of the most important things that people can learn, creative or not. I think that's like, I don't know. I think it's really important to know that the most important step is starting, and then the second most important step is actually finishing something.
Totally.
And then learning and going from there. Is there any final words or anything we should know or things that are coming up that we haven't previously talked about?
Follow at That's on Bing on
Absolutely.
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost at 200 subs.
Link in the bio.
We're probably
for the YouTube video.
17 subscribers away from 200 on YouTube. The ultimate
Nice.
goal is 1,000, so we can start making money.
Slowly getting there.
We got a lot of stuff coming out over the next 2 months.
Christmas playlist. The playlists are live, but we'll have a video coming out soon about that.
So
Get you in the holiday spirit.
in our radio show, we made a Spotify and Apple Music Christmas playlist that we would plug. And we're changing it slightly, or at least the title of it, to just be an On Bing cool playlist to put out there. We got a bunch of social media videos. We got a bunch of actual short films coming out. So just follow us for the ride. Hopefully you like something we put out.
And if anybody needs any advertisement,
The
social
most
media
important
management, our info is on that website, on bingproductions.com.
Yeah.
That is the way we make our most money. So
Yeah.
please help us out. We want to cut anybody a discount. It is the holiday season. It's a season of giving. We'll work with you on a price. Dom even had the brilliant idea of coming up with a, what'd you call it? Like a sale, extravaganza sale or something like that.
Well,
Similar to that.
you ever see those Instagram posts that's like, share, and comment,
Yeah.
tag 3 friends in the comments for a chance to win something?
For sure.
We're doing the same thing with On Bing. We're going to give 2 or 3 people $200 off any service.
Whoa. That's crazy.
You know,
Good sale.
Perfect.
Good for all of 2021. If you want pictures of your dog taken in the woods, we'll do it. If you want a commercial for your dad's pizza place, we'll do it.
You got
Awesome.
a wedding coming up, COVID safe. Once the vaccine's out, we got enough cameras. We'll shoot that.
Yep.
Whatever you need.
Anything you want to make a cool video or you want a cool picture of, we can do for you.
Sick. All right, boys. Thank you so much for
I
doing
appreciate
this.
having us
buddy.
on.
On Bing team.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Calvin McChesney behind the camera. My name's Rob Riley. This is Free Coffee. Until next time, thank you guys so much for doing this.